Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we're looking at Module 2, Lesson 6, More Division Stories. So today we're going to continue exactly what we worked on yesterday. I know some of you told me you struggled making the models on the homework. We're going to practice those more today. So we'll focus more on what type of models to draw when creating these division stories. Okay, so let's just review what we talked about yesterday. There are two types of division. The partitive and the measurement. Remember that in partitive, we're looking for the size of the group. We did our example of 12 divided by 3. So if that's 12, we're making 3 groups. There are 4 in each group. So 4 is the size of the group. So 4 is my quotient. And my quotient is telling me the size of the group. So that is partitive. If I did 12 and made groups of 3, I made 4 groups. When my quotient is telling me how many groups, then it's measurement. Remember, MN, N is the number of groups. PS, partitive, is the size of your group. Yesterday we focused on measurement. Today we're going to be looking at partitive. Are there any questions on the difference between measurement or partitive?
Are they two different answers or they're the same answer?
Well, 12 divided by 3 is 4. Always. It doesn't matter if you use the partitive model or the measurement model. So on a test or quiz, if you are told to choose a method, you can choose, unless the directions tell you what to use, you can choose either one and you can't be wrong. But your model should match your method. So if you choose partitive, your quotient should tell you the size of your group. If you choose to use measurement, your quotient should tell you the number of groups. So really, you can choose either one as long as your model supports what you chose. The directions might tell you which model to use. Okay. So let's take a look at the first example. Notice how the steps are written out. So on your homework tonight, you should fully write out everything you see on the board and everything you see in your notes on page 27. Fully write out those steps. So step 1, today we're doing partitive. So write that in your notes. Partitive. Now we're going to draw a model. A lot of people seem to struggle on the homework last night when we were looking at a whole number, because we did that a whole week ago. When it's a whole number, I find, gentlemen, please stop interrupting. We're looking for the quotient. So 2/3 of what number is 50? Remember, when we're taking a whole number and dividing it by a fraction, our quotient is going to be larger than the dividend. Your quotient should be larger than the dividend when you're dividing a whole number by a fraction. So I think this is easier to solve when I rewrite it this way, because then I can see 2/3 is 50. So that means they're equal. 2/3 is 50. So let's show that. So let's draw our 2/3. 2/3. That 2/3 equals 50. Good. Any questions on what I just drew? Why I made 3 boxes? Who wants to know why I shaded in 2 boxes? Who wants to know why I put 50 under the 2 that I shaded?
Would you have to find out the total amount?
That's what I want to know now. Because if 2/3 is 50, what's the number? Right.
I'm still confused about how you would decide to use what method.
You can choose either one you want.
Oh. So do this one.
All right, so now what is the total? Well, if this, oh, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. So if these 2 equal 50, what is my constant? What's the value of each unit? Oh, there's that value word. We haven't said that in a while. What's the value of each box?
25.
How did he get, who wants to know where 25 came from? Okay, what happened was if the 2 of them equal 50, I could take the 50 and divide it in between those 2 boxes, right? So 25 is my constant, meaning all of the units equal 25. So what's the answer? What's your question? So now choose a unit. I'll tell you a funny story about my house. So I went out shopping the other day because I had to buy more cardstock and ink to make the stations we did the other day. And when I was checking out, I saw candy canes. And I knew we were putting up our tree soon, and they weren't like those Dollar Store candy canes. They were the candy canes that had Jelly Belly flavors, Starburst flavors, Dum Dum flavors. My kids love those. So I thought I was going to be cool mom, like the cool parent, and come home with the cool, expensive candy canes. And my kids were like, yay! Well, apparently my husband didn't see me buy all these boxes of candy canes. So when my husband is a food shopping, so when my husband went food shopping, and you know that, I've told you that. So the next morning, my husband went food shopping. He also decided he wanted to be the cool parent, and he bought the expensive candy canes, so he came home with more candy canes.
Yeah.
So we started...
Some more for the kids.
Yeah, if they were chocolate, they'd be mine. But 3, 2, 1. So, our unit, let's use candy canes. Okay, I bought more than my husband did, so I think I win. All right, so now choose the situation. So, the Labuskis put 50 candy canes on their tree. Now let's go back and look at our model. Are those 50 candy canes the total amount of candy canes that we bought? No. Those 50 candy canes are only... What part? 50 is only part of what I bought. 50 is what part? 2/3. That was 2/3 of all the candy canes they bought.
Not true.
I didn't count. Not quite that many.
They don't have a tree yet.
Our tree is up, but it's not decorated. So now, what's my question? If 50 is my part, 2/3 is my part, what should my question be?
How many candy canes do they have?
Right. How many candy canes did they buy? All right, turn to page 28. On the top of page 28, it's asking for another example using the same numbers. So here are 2 that were already provided. So our unit can be miles. You know I'm a triathlete, so instead of Ronaldo, Mrs. Labuski, God bless you, has ridden 50 miles during her bicycle race. I've never ridden 50 miles.
I promise.
That 50 miles that Ronaldo biked is only 2/3 of the race. So how long is the race? You should be copying this down. Or you could say, Samantha used 50 tickets. Those are 2/3 of the tickets that she bought. How many tickets did she buy? So 50 miles is 2/3 of the race. How long is the race? Or Samantha used 50 tickets. She used 2/3 of her tickets. How many tickets did she start with? Okay, let's look at example number 2. Thank you very much. We decide on an interpretation, partitive division. That's what we're looking at today. 45 divided by 3/8. So we can ask ourselves, 3/8 of what number is 45? So then we could see 3/8 is 45. So if 3/8 is 45, I can show that on my model. So there's my 8s, because 8 is my denominator. I only need 3 of the 8s, so I shade in 3. 3 was my numerator.
Isn't that 45?
Yeah, so that 3/8 is 45. Why are you calling out? Let's write this down, please, gentlemen. So if all 3 of them equal 45, what does each one equal? If all 3 of them equal 45, what does one? Exactly. 15, 15, 15 is 45. But that's our constant, so we can fill them all in. Okay. So what's the total? What? Yes. Okay. I love the enthusiasm and excitement. Now, 45 is kind of a special number.
Is it that?
That's almost. So we could choose our unit as years. Years. So, 3, 2, 1. So, Mrs. Labusky is almost 45. That sounds 45 years old. Okay, so there's my dividend, my quantity.
Don't worry, my dad's going to color. Don't worry, my dad's.
This, wait, she has lived 3/8 of her life. So 3/8 is what I've done. 45 is what I've done. So now what's my question going to be? 45. 45 is 3/8.
Does this mean that nobody's old?
Why, what's the question? What's the question? Three, 2, thank you. How long will she live? Now, this may not be a realistic question. We keep talking about reasonable answers. Is your answer reasonable? But we've got a good 70, 80 years of technology to come up with something to keep me alive. And so, when you're helping your children or grandchildren with their 6th grade homework, you'll be reading the paper and you'll see, oh, the oldest woman alive, Mrs. Labusky, 120 years old. You go, oh my gosh, that was my crazy math teacher in 6th grade. I remember her. I know her. Oh my God, I know her. We're completely out of control. 3, 2, 1. Let's take a look at 2 more examples that are a little more reasonable. So you can select one to copy down under exercise 2. So another example would be Daryl has been on a diet for 45 days, and this is 3/8 of the way to the end of the diet program. How long is the program? So 45 days is 3/8. Or Amy collected, Amy collected 45 box tops for education, which is 3/8 of her goal. What is the total number she is trying to collect? On your homework tonight, you should write out these 5 steps exactly like you see them in your note page. Coming up with 3 sentences for your story problems. Concentrating mostly on your models, because that's really what we need to really focus on. There's extra help today, and there's extra help for periods 1 and 2 on Thursday.